My name is Stephen USSR Robinson, and thank you for watching Sporting Icons.
Okay, so the last time we looked at the WBA World Heavyweight Rankings, which was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we could all agree that they were absolutely diabolical. They were terrible. So let's see if they've made any kind of amendments, any kind of changes, improvements. Let's see if they've done that. Well, the super champion is Anthony Joshua. The World Heavyweight regular champion is Trevor Bryan, who's also considered number 1, by the way. There's Alexander Usyk, then Wilder, then Ortiz, then Ruiz Jr, then Kaunaki, then Martin, then Areola, Bogdan Dinu, Michael Hunter, Filip Hrgovic, Frank Sanchez, Otto Wallin, Martin Bakole, and then Derek Chisora. These are the top 15 according to the WBA. Now, the way to look at this is that each sanctioning body, okay, they don't care what the other sanctioning body looks at or what their criteria are. They will look at it and say, okay, here's our champion. Then under the champion, we believe with all the heavyweights across the planet, these are the top 15 in this particular order. That's how they see it. So the WBA believe that this top 15 are the top 15 in the world. In that order. So Anthony Joshua is the number 1 heavyweight in the world. Okay, cool. Trevor Bryan is the second best heavyweight in the world. Trevor Bryan is the second best heavyweight in the world. Robert Helenius, who of course isn't on this particular list, but he's a WBA gold champion. So he's number 3 in the world. Followed by Alexander Usyk, then Wilder, then Ortiz, and so forth. Really? Really? Okay. Now, let's go down the list. Trevor Bryan, he got that belt, a vacant belt, which I've done a previous video on. They absolutely screwed Manuel Charr. Don't get me wrong, I think Manuel Charr should have been stripped a long time ago, but the way they've done it this time, Don King, WBA, quite clearly fiddled with Manuel Charr. Manuel Charr was supposed to go to America, get a working visa. Don King was supposed to arrange that, apparently. Then he can defend that belt against Trevor Bryan. Apparently, Don King didn't even apply. Apparently. Okay? Then Trevor Bryan fights for a vacant title against Bermane Stiverne. Bermane Stiverne, who's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. And the one that he did win, arguably, he lost that fight against Derek Rossi. But either way, he got the decision. So he's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. So what gives Bermane Stiverne the right to fight for a world title? I'm baffled by this one. Baffled by it. But there are some other names that are missing. We could look at Alexander Povetkin and Dillian Whyte. I can kind of understand why they're not in these rankings, because they are, in fact, fighting for the WBC interim title, which the WBA, IBF, WBA recognise as a world title. It's like a regular title, like the WBA have with Trevor Bryan. They see it there as a world title. That's why they're not ranked, because they're going to be fighting on March the 6th for it. I can understand that point. But where is Joe Joyce? Where's he on this list? Daniel Dubois, arguably. Where's he on this list? And quite a few others. Why are they not on this list? I don't understand any of this. Where's Tony Yoka to a point? Okay, Tony Yoka, he's only had, 9 fights, so arguably he shouldn't be ranked on any sanctioning body, but he is across a couple of others. Where's Josie Parker? Where's Junior Farr? And the list goes on. Where are these guys? Because it appears nowadays, to get a ranking, you have to pay a sanctioning body a bit of money. For me, the WBA should not be having communications with anybody. No sanctioning body should have communications with anybody in order to buy a certain ranking, buy a position, get convinced to give a certain fighter a position. Because we can look down at Trevor Bryan, as I just said, he hasn't had a fight in 2 years and just defeated Bermane Stiverne, who's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. Now he's lost 4 of his last 5 fights because Trevor Bryan stopped him around number 11. So he's the WBA regular world heavyweight champion. Have a freaking word with yourself. Number 2, Alexander Usyk, waste of a ranking for a couple of reasons. Number 1, he's only had 2 heavyweight fights. That's the first one. But second of all, he's going the WBO route. He's going to be fighting somebody for the WBO world heavyweight title. To start with, it'll probably be the interim title, but once Fury Joshua get their first fight over with, Usyk, should he win his next fight, will be elevated to the WBO super champion. Okay, so for me, total waste of a ranking when it comes to the WBA. Deontay Wilder, okay, cool. Why not? I'm the biggest fan of Wilder. His resume is packed full of tuna cans. Let's be honest. But, okay, sure. Why not? Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz. Okay. Has he proven his ranking? Who's he beat? Trevor Bryan, what, 5 years ago? Not Trevor Bryan. Bryant Jennings. What, 5 years ago? Tony Thompson before that. Malik Scott in more recent times, which was about 3-4 years ago anyway. But who's he beat? Who? Razvan Kajanu? Is that the kind of guy that's got him this ranking? Who? Who is Luis Ortiz beaten? Hasn't he lost 2 of his last 5 fights? Maybe 2 of his last 6. Maybe. Both of them by knockout, by the way. Anyway, it is what it is. Number 5, Andy Ruiz Jr. Okay, 2 losses on his resume. 1 to Anthony Joshua, 1 to Joseph Parker. So why's Joseph Parker not on here when he beat Andy Ruiz Jr.? Why is that? Parker also has 2 losses on his resume. Okay, Andy Ruiz Jr., he is former WBA World Heavyweight Champion after he defeated Anthony Joshua. Not just the WBA, of course, but then he lost. Okay, so yes, you could argue he should be here or there or thereabouts, right? Okay, not too much of a problem. Adam Kownacki, number 6. Adam Kownacki is a very good fighter, by the way, but he did get knocked out by Robert Helenius. Robert Helenius is WBA Gold Champion. A belt that, as far as I'm aware, was created for Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce hasn't lost that belt, so why has Robert Helenius got that belt? I don't quite understand that. Hey, is what it is. Adam Kownacki's on there. Really? Charles Martin. Who's Charles Martin beat? In recent times, since he lost to Anthony Joshua, what's happened? Well, he's lost to Adam Kownacki. Okay. And he beat Jared Washington. That's it. I think if he does fight Wilder next and beats Wilder, we could probably go, okay, fair enough. It's not a bad ranking, I suppose. Arguably, he should be a little bit higher if he beats Wilder. But currently, Charles Martin has done nothing to justify this position. Nothing. So Charles Martin is the 7th best heavyweight in the world. Really? Okay. Chris Arreola, behave yourself. Chris Arreola, 6 losses on his resume. Okay, cool. What's he done? Every time he steps up lately, he gets beat by everybody. He gets beat. He takes losses. He's retired, then he's come back. He's retired, then he's come back. He hasn't been in shape and condition for many, many years. So why is he there? I mean, I am seeing a bit of a pattern here. In fact, the pattern here, quite obviously, is number 3, Wilder, PBC fighter. Number 4, PBC fighter. Number 5, PBC fighter. Number 6, PBC fighter. Number 7, PBC fighter. Number 8, PBC fighter. So in the top 8, 6 of them are PBC fighters. 6 of them. Are we seeing any kind of bias here by any chance? Anyway, we'll continue. Bogdan Dinu, number 9. Okay, he's a guy who's lost 2 of his last 4 fights. Lost to Jaron Miller, then lost to Kubrat Pulev, then fought 2 journeymen. Not gatekeepers or anything, but journeymen. But he is ranked number 9. So he's the 9th best heavyweight on the planet. Really? Well, if you lost to Miller and you lost to Kubrat Pulev, shouldn't at least Pulev be above him, surely? We can understand with Miller, obviously, he's got his own things going on with the PED scandals and that. So we can understand why he's not ranked. But shouldn't Pulev be above Bogdan Dinu? Surely, right? Anyway. Number 10, Michael Hunter. I think that's probably a fair position for Michael Hunter. His resume at heavyweight is quite impressive. The only one loss he has on his resume is to Alexander Usyk at cruiserweight. So I can't hate on that position of Michael Hunter. Filip Hrgović, I don't think he's really had enough fights to justify this kind of position, to be honest with you. But potentially, he could beat most of these guys. I would say you put Filip Hrgović in with Bogdan Dinu, Chris Arreola, and Charles Martin at a minimum, he would beat them. Trevor Bryan, he'd absolutely take his head off. So I can understand, and just based on potential, sure. But this is not about potential. This is about what you've done so far. But he does have a couple of good wins, that's for sure. So I'm not really going to hate on that position anyway. Number 12, Frank Sanchez. Okay, 17-0. But who's he beaten? Who's he beaten? Is he still a PBC fighter? I don't know. I know his last fight was going to be on DAZN. So I don't know. Is he still a PBC fighter? We know he's trained by Eddie Reynoso, who of course trains Canelo Alvarez, Ryan Garcia, and Andy Ruiz Jr. But who's he beaten? Who? Has he justified his position? No. But he is undefeated. He is 17-0. So I can kind of say, okay, fair enough in some ways. Otto Wallin, okay, 21-1. His one defeat was against Tyson Fury. I'm a massive Tyson Fury fan, but let's be honest, Otto Wallin gave him that work. He busted Tyson Fury's face up. Had that fight been anywhere else, there's a very good chance that fight would have been stopped. And Otto Wallin will be sat here right now as the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. Okay? That's the truth of it. But the reality is that's not what happened. And yes, Tyson Fury, he did win that fight quite handily. I think he won pretty much, I'll probably say 9 or 10 of those rounds. To be honest with you, but those rounds were pretty close. Okay, they really were. And he did have Tyson Fury out on his feet in round number 12. I think a lot of people do forget that. But outside of that fight, who's Otto Wallin beat? Who? He hasn't beat anybody, has he? He really hasn't. We know he's going to be taking on Dominic Brazil next. Would that justify a number 13 in the world? Arguably. Arguably. So again, I'm not really going to hate on Otto Wallin being ranked number 13. But if we are being realistic, I think he should be ranked above probably half this lot. To be honest with you. Arguably, just based on this 15, he should be ranked above quite a few of these guys. Number 14, Martin Bakole. Now, he spars my very, very good friend in Stephen Robinson. He's a good fighter, of course. He does have one loss on his resume, which, of course, yes, he did damage his shoulder when he fought Michael Hunter. Be interesting to see if he can get revenge over Michael Hunter, or if he is actually going to be fighting Filip Hrgović next. I do think that he needs to stop getting hit as much as what he does, if I'm being brutally honest with you. But number 14 in the world, is that a justified position? Arguably. Where's Hughie Fury? Why is he not in here? Number 15, Derek Chisora. Okay. 10 losses. Okay, all of those were top flight fights. All of them. Arguably with the outside of Ajit Cabello. Again, where's Ajit Cabello on this list? He's an undefeated fighter, former European heavyweight champion. Where's he on this list? But Derek Chisora, is he number 15 in the world? I don't think so. But sure, he's as game as anybody comes, and he gives everybody a lot of work. And nobody gets away with an easy time with Derek Chisora. But the problem is, when we look at the win-loss resume, he doesn't win enough. He doesn't win on the big occasion. He just doesn't do it. So he's number 15 in the world. As much as I like him, no, he's not. He really isn't, and that's the truth of it. And I don't like saying that. But he's not 15th best heavyweight in the world. He's just not. Unless he can prove it. But as I said, there's so many different names that should be on here that are not here. Where's Joseph Parker? Where is he? Where is Ajit Cabello? Where is Kubrat Pulev? And the list goes on. Where are these fighters on this list? This is an absolute pony bullshit list. Let's be honest about it. It is awful. Absolutely awful. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this particular rankings. Not too much has changed. I think the WBA are absolute charlatans. They're either incompetent or they're getting paid by certain people to rank certain fighters in certain positions. I think we can pretty much see that at the top end with the whole Trevor Bryan scandal, right? Anyway, drop your thoughts below, click a thumbs up, and make sure you are subscribed if you're not already. And I'll catch each and every one of you on the next video.